All right, Mr. Theophilus, back again with you. We're returning to a little To Kill a Mockingbird information. Now, we're getting near the end. Today I'm going to read chapter 25 with you, go through that, and getting closer and closer to being done. My goal is that you'd be able to turn your notes in digitally. Now, my assumption is your notes should still be done by April 1st, which is the day we're supposed to return together. So I'm going to talk about, I'll probably post in the classroom about training them digitally, probably taking some pictures of them. If you have a scanner, that's great. You can just take some high quality pictures, put them in an email, and send them to me. Actually, I'll probably make a Google, I'll figure it out, but basically you're gonna have to turn it in digitally. I'm gonna need your notes digitally, have to be posted. Something in regards to that, and I'll talk about due dates. I'll post them in the classroom. Don't start freaking out. Don't send me an email of your notes right now, but that's coming up. Keep that in mind, April 1st. Another key thing that I think is important to talk about, not a lot, some people have told me that they would be willing to do the trial um, in like a video call, like a Zoom type situation. I would love to do that. That'd be really cool. And then I could just have the groups that I was doing the video call, the trial with at that time be the ones in it, and it would just be all of us together. And the great thing about Zoom is I could pin who was supposed to be talking at the time, and everybody could see that person doing their part of the performance. We could go back and forth with attorneys and witnesses, so it could be done really cool. We'll have to take a look and we'll have to see, but I would love to do that. It does depend on people's network capabilities, their technological access, some stuff like that. So we'll see. Jumping into the text really fast, folks, just to get through chapter 25. It's really short, but there's this really cool thing that's going on in here. There's a lot of really obvious notes. So I'll skim over some really big notes for you. Of course, you could just take them down as your notes, the notes that are coming due, and hopefully you'll be following along and be prepared to be with me. So at the beginning of this chapter, Scout is messing. The first line is, "Don't do that, Scout. Set him out on the back steps." Scout is messing around with a pill bug, I believe, or like a roly-poly is basically what they are. Doesn't really matter. She is kind of messing with it, and Jem is saying, "Put it outside." So I'm going to read a little bit of that, and I want to talk about what they say in regards to that. So after she's messing with it, she's decided that she's goofed around with it enough, and she's going to squash him. Jem tells her not to, and then she asks, "Why couldn't I mash him?" I asked. "Because they don't bother you," Jem answered in the darkness. He had turned out his reading light. "Reckon you're at the stage now where you don't kill flies and mosquitoes now, I reckon," I said. "Let me know when you change your mind. Tell you one thing, though. I ain't gonna sit around and not scratch a red bug. Aw, dry up," he answered drowsily. So Jem is saying you shouldn't kill this bug because it hasn't done anything to you. Hopefully, you can see some of the symbolism and connection between this bug and his treatment towards it to some things previously. If you think about why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird, maybe that'll come up to you. Maybe you think about, man, what could this symbolically connect to when I'm thinking about the trial of Tom Robinson and I'm thinking about his death? Maybe you can make connections there. I think it's a really powerful little section where he's arguing for just the fine treatment of this little bug, which most of us don't care about killing bugs often. So it's a really interesting piece, and I think it's starting to speak to how the events of the text have changed Jem. So maybe there's a symbolic note. Maybe there's a theme note related to maturity, changing, morality. Something like that would definitely work out for a number of people. Not a lot of other stuff happens. Scout is kind of thinking about Dill, and then she's recalling when Dill and Jem had gone swimming in Barker's eddy. If you're not sure what an eddy is, look it up. It's something to do with water. So they'd gone swimming, and on the way back, they had seen Atticus. But Atticus was going to see Helen Robinson right after Tom Robinson's death, and gives Jem and Dill a ride. And they witness some stuff take place there. They witness her get the news of the death, and Dill tells Scout about it later. And I want to read you this quote, which of course connects back to what we just read, connects back to some of these big ideas that I was just going over. And Dill says, "Scout, she just fell down in the dirt. Just fell down in the dirt like a giant with a big foot just came along and stepped on her. Just oomph." Dill's flat foot hit the ground like you'd step on an ant. So he's talking about the collapse, how she collapses when um, she finds out that her husband has died, and likens it to the destruction and killing of just an ant. How easy it is for a person, a giant, to an ant to stomp on it and kill it. And obviously, I hope you see this clear connection to this thing that was just happening with Gem and Scout, because it's evidently there. It's supposed to be there, I would argue. Okay. That's almost near the end of the chapter. The rest of the chapter just talks about how quickly Maycomb returns to normal after Tom's death. And it's really related to some systemic and structural racism issues in their society. There's a little section to read. Of course, I'm not going to use the language that's used in here, but it's extremely powerful. This is Scout and the narrator giving us the general ideology of the people in the town. And I'll read this little section. Typical of an N-word to cut and run. Typical of an N-word's mentality to have no plan, no thought for the future. Just run blind first chance he saw. Funny thing, Atticus Finch might have got him off scot-free, but wait, hell no. You know who they are. Easy come, easy go. Just shows you that Robinson boy was legally married. They say he kept himself clean, went to church and all that. But when it comes down the line, the veneer's mighty thin. N-word always comes out. Now, this is a horrible statement, but this is how the people in the society feel it. And if anything, Tom's death proves to them that all black people are less than or lower than, that should not be treated equally, and are bad people through and through. Even Tom, who seemingly was a good person, went to church, had a wife, had a job, who he took care of, and did all these things. Even he was this type of man, which shows you is representative of all black people, is what they're trying to say. This is the mentality of these people in the 1930s in Alabama. Absolutely terrible. The town quickly gets over it. It talks briefly about Mr. Underwood and the newspaper, and it kind of ends there. And it kind of, again, foreshadows a little bit to Bob Ewell saying that he's going to get three people, that he's got three people to get for what happened to Mail and him in the trial and how they were portrayed in the city, and Atticus being one of them. And that he's not done. Spitting in his face was not his being done. All right, that's the end of chapter 25, folks. Very short chapter. Just a few more chapters to go in my book, about 50 pages. So that gets 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, I think. So about 10 pages each chapter. I'll try and breeze through them with you, and I'll post some more stuff in the classroom in regards to some academic things. Yeah. All right. Thinking about you all fondly. Take care, and until next time, enjoy yourselves.